Hello, everybody, and welcome to our breakout session on Industrial Metaverse. I'm Kees Hertogh, General Manager of Industry Marketing at Microsoft. In this session, we're going to dig into the topic of Industrial Metaverse. We will explain what the Industrial Metaverse is and why it's important. We'll also hear from one of our great Microsoft customers on how they are leading the digital transformation in commercial real estate with Industrial Metaverse. Finally, I'll be joined by Andy Pratt, Vice President of Customer Innovation at Microsoft. Andy will walk through key Industrial Metaverse scenarios and the technologies that enable them. He's also providing a short list of things that you can do today to start taking advantage of new technologies in your organization. So let's start with understanding of what we're talking about when we say Metaverse. To be clear, this is very much an emerging space. Do a quick web search and you'll find many different definitions of metaverse, and most of them will be accurate. This is because as an industry, we are still in the early days of these technologies. We aren't yet sure how they will evolve. But at the broadest level, we see metaverse as a set of technologies that allow for persistent digital representation connected to aspects of the real world. We've received three distinct but overlapping manifestations of the metaverse: consumer, enterprise, and industrial. The consumer metaverse focuses primarily on social, entertainment, and well-being experience for individuals. Examples include immersive 3D gaming experiences such as Minecraft, live concert events, or new virtual shopping experiences. The enterprise metaverse focuses on communication and collaboration between people in a work environment. A great example is the capabilities we're building in Microsoft Mesh for Teams, creating new ways for people to work together in immersive digital spaces. And lastly, we have the industrial metaverse. The industrial metaverse focuses on how we leverage digital and AI to enable people to interact with and optimize physical goods, assets, places, processes, and equipment. Industrial metaverse isn't just about manufacturing. It applies to any industry, vertical, government function, or process where the link between the physical and virtual is important for core operations. Its aim is to bring the agility of a software company to the complexity of the physical world, while enabling people to collaborate and interact with it wherever they are. I know that's a lot to take in. As with any new technology, I think it's enormously helpful to see a real life example of the technology in use. We've put together a quick concept videos on how customers can use industrial metaverse technologies to help transform their business.
My name is Ari. I'm a facilities manager and I oversee multiple sites in the Vancouver area. My job has changed a lot over the years, for the better, as new technology gives me access to real-time data like never before. And just when I thought it couldn't get any better, I now have the Industrial Metaverse. It gives me a clear view of all the operations across my facilities in one place. I can see the status of any asset, if workers are on schedule, and if tasks are being finished on time. I can also get an overview of all the facilities I manage. Today, there's a scheduled electrical panel maintenance at one of my buildings. When an asset is at the end of its life cycle, I've set up the system to proactively schedule a qualified vendor electrician. Kai is booked for today's job. His work order provides him with all the information he needs, from parts pickup to procedural guidance, ensuring things are successfully completed the first time round. When a sudden windstorm hits the city, the system alerts me that one of our security cameras has detected an obstruction that's gridlocking the parking lot, and 5 cars are stuck in the lot. Previously, this type of issue would have created a lot of disruption and may not have been acted on urgently enough. Now, with the Industrial Metaverse, the system automatically sends a work order to the vendor for the cleanup and reroutes vehicles to other parking lots. I see another alert come through from the same location that an elevator is down with an unexpected electrical issue, which needs to be immediately resolved. I approve an automatic suggestion to reschedule Kai. The system recommends him because he's the closest electrician. He's not yet experienced enough, though, to manage this type of issue alone. So a remote expert, L, is also scheduled to support him. She calls in via Teams and connects to Kai, who's using a HoloLens, which gives him all the relevant information right on the physical equipment. Together, they review the historical data to determine the source of the problem. Elle identifies that it's an issue with the fuses and gets Kai to launch into the appropriate holographic guidance, ensuring he can confidently complete the repair. I'm notified when the elevator is back online and see positive feedback roll in about Kai. It's so much easier for me to stay focused on improving the operations of the buildings I manage when I have a holistic view of all the people, places, and things across my facilities.
Joining me now is Sandeep Davé, CBRE's Digital and Chief Technology Officer.
Thank you, Kees. I'm glad to be here today to share how CBRE is leveraging technology to improve outcomes for our clients, both investors and occupiers of commercial real estate, and for our own company. At CBRE, we are creating real estate solutions of tomorrow so businesses and people can thrive.
Thank you, Sandeep. Dynamics 365 field service and mixed reality technologies enable companies to get started in the industrial metaverse. Sandeep, let's explore how CBRE is converging these technologies with commercial real estate to realize automated workflows, cost efficiencies, and drive sustainability in the industry. Tell us more about CBRE.
Sure. CBRE is the world's largest commercial real estate services and investment firm. We operate across every dimension of commercial real estate, from investing in space, tracking and finding a new location, designing and maintaining a space, and managing facilities. We process over 500 billion in transaction volume annually and manage close to 7 billion square feet.
So also tell us a bit more on some of the current challenges facing the commercial real estate industry.
Sure. I like 3 challenges facing the industry. First, commercial real estate executives were always challenged to do more with less. And that has been further exacerbated post the pandemic. The need to improve service levels while reducing costs. The need for real-time occupancy insights, the need for greater sanitation requirements, all of that while the pressures around the costs of real estate have also increased. So that's the first challenge. The second challenge, we find ourselves grappling with 2 of the most dominant macro trends of our time, the future of work and hybrid work and sustainability. And third, what used to be a predominantly manual industry is now hungry for data and technology. Decisions that our clients make today are micro-segmented and rely on clean data and deep insights. Additionally, efficient and effective workflows must be data-driven and automated.
Yes, Sandeep. So what's CBRE's vision for digital transformation of the commercial real estate?
We are focused on enabling 3 outcomes for our clients. 1, accelerating their progress towards net zero and sustainability. 2, lowering their costs through operational efficiency. And 3, enabling the future of work through modern workplace experiences. We have been on this journey over the last 5 years and have made tremendous progress in building industrial-grade technology and leveraging our data at scale.
So how does collaboration with Microsoft allow CBRE to execute on the digital strategies with Industrial Metaverse?
Our relationship with Microsoft supports our ability to deliver on all the 3 strategic imperatives that I referenced before. Take sustainability, for example. By some estimates, real estate contributes to approximately 40% of greenhouse gas emissions. Most of our clients have declared net zero targets, and to achieve those targets, we need to operate at portfolio scale, which means we need to extract and analyze data from a range of sources, including IoT sensors, BMS systems, bat swipes, Wi-Fi triangulation, analyze, make sense of the data, and respond to it in real time. Clients are realizing savings up to 20% in energy savings. Enabling efficiency. We enable automated workflows to drive cost efficiency. We apply ML models to surface diagnostic insights upfront so as to reduce truck rolls. We've deployed augmented reality, mixed reality solutions to provide expert assistance in the field. All of these measures allow us to improve facility management outcomes while lowering costs. And then finally, workspaces. We have enabled next generation workplace experiences by connecting teams as they return to work and those working remotely or hybrid by leveraging digital twins and enabling tech-enabled offices.
Thank you, Sandeep. And in closing, what advice would you leave those on their digital transformation journey?
Well, first, I would say there's no easy button if your goal is to transform your core business. Second, data is key. And then finally, driving business transformation takes a village, and strong partnerships similar to what we have at Microsoft can help accelerate that path to meaningful outcomes.
Thanks again, Sandeep, and to CBRE for sharing your journey around the Industrial Metaverse. So now I would like to introduce Andy Pratt, Vice President of Customer Innovation. Andy's going to provide an overview of Industrial Metaverse technologies. He'll also leave you with some concrete steps you can take today to get started with your own Industrial Metaverse journey.
Thanks, Kees. Incredible to see the work that's going on at CBRE. I'm Andy Pratt, I'm the VP of Customer Innovation. And we're here today in Houston, which is actually one of our Industrial Metaverse R&D facilities. So here we get very hands-on with the types of robotics applications, autonomous systems and drones and SMT lines and CNC shops and all kinds of work streams to really get together with our partners, get together with the ecosystem and get together with customers and really try and push the boundaries on how we bring some of the emerging technology to life and importantly, how we build on some of the incredible technology that's been established for many years. And I think that that's a really important thing to highlight. This Industrial Metaverse is a journey, but it's one where we're not starting from zero. Microsoft has put huge investments in assets for collaboration, for IoT, for data hosting, for security, as well as our partners that have been established in these spaces often for decades, developing incredible digital solutions. But really with this renewed focus into the potential impact that Industrial Metaverse could have on society across sustainability, looking at new material design, thinking about how we re-engineer and redesign and de-risk supply chains, how we think about the new opportunities for workers, where the whole paradigm of work is changing, the types of jobs that people want to do, how they do them, the scarcity of specialist skills and how we enable that to support many places, and as well as ultimately how we bring the digital capability. This is one of the few things that can truly fight inflation by disrupting the cost of what it takes to get the necessities out to society where they need it. And of course, the sustainability transition and everything involved with what it takes to move an entire geo-world space into this new opportunity. And so when we think of the foundational technologies that we want to leverage and build from, because we can't have a situation where we look to drive impact out to the market and to customers too late in the future. We need to leverage the foundations we have now, the capabilities we have now, and build on them iteratively and bring them together iteratively. I think of the incredible work that's gone on in industrial control systems over the years, the connectivity and the real-time control and the distributed control systems that we've seen come to life, work streams in digital twins that help us to contextualize data, to drive more insight from data, to model scenarios that we haven't yet built. Mixed reality, as that now becomes a tool that's scaling and more manufacturers and industrial companies adopting it and taking advantage of it to give their frontline workers superpowers in the workplace. It's been amazing to see the work stream that's going on in some of the advanced engineering software spaces with simulation and design and all of those work streams coming together. And of course, the technology in robotics and cobots and automation technology. All of these capabilities are pillars very much standing on the shoulders of giants. And as we move into the Industrial Metaverse and we really think about how do we simplify and bring together the physical and digital world so much more effectively. How do we reduce those barriers for design and collaboration in the design space that goes all the way through to build and operate, and we keep those digital threads together throughout the life cycle of what the potential could look like. And importantly, how do we empower people in this environment? How do we empower people to collaborate with each other more effectively? And importantly, to leverage AI to give them superhuman capabilities. Focus on the things that they're uniquely and creatively capable of solving, while allowing this new technology to take care of some of the work that frees them up to focus on those high-value tasks. So when we really think about, what is moving forward in the industrial metaverse, there's the connective tissue. In the same way that we want the industrial metaverse to have the capabilities when you load a website, you know that your web browser is going to be able to render that website and interact with that website and interact with the internet. A lot of this is around how do we create the capabilities that allow people to interact with and model and collaborate in the physical world as effortlessly as they do in the digital, to query that database of the world and provide those new types of data sets for use in the systems. So we're really focused at Microsoft on how do we go deep. We don't just want to have this very thin horizontal layer that moves across lots of places, but we want to partner with how do we think about in the design space. If we take the automotive vehicle as an example, customizations are going through the roof. Customers are looking for new ways to kind of, put their own footprint on products, both in automotive spaces and in others. That and the massive change in the infrastructure required for e-vehicles and other capabilities is forcing new ways to think about how we design these new vehicles at higher paces, how we can validate them digitally, how we can run simulation on the design and footprints, how we can render them before we make physical prototypes, and then how we leverage the physical prototypes to be better immersed, to allow people to collaborate and digitally immerse in those prototypes. So many opportunities in the design space to really think about how do we build the right thing in the right way at the right price point to meet the right market demands as effectively as possible. Even more so when you look at the sustainability initiatives, and we think of the example with Judson in his keynote on Equinor, and the work stream there is like, how do we design wind farms in a very capital intensive, very tight margin environment to make sure that when we build them in the right way, they can make the energy transition, they can generate the future revenues and profits that are needed to reinvest into this ecosystem to create these flywheels that help us as a society transition. We need to be able to de-risk in digital before we materialize in physical. And then when it comes to materializing in physical, during this build phase, both the factories that build these products, the wind turbines that generate this energy, and the automotive vehicles that are assembled and put together, so many challenges there on how we bring that to life. So being able to empower the big complex capital projects, to de-risk, to remove very human intensive manual processes, enable digital layers to come and provide value in there, to constantly check up and adapt in real time the plans and make those plans dynamic as they materialize. And then making sure that the digital thread continues all the way through into the operate, when these assets are commissioned, when these automotive vehicles are handed over to customers. How do we make sure that digital thread stays with them, constantly learning, constantly adopting, and constantly optimizing? It's an amazing challenge to think of what the power could be when we truly bring together all the phases and all the partners and all the capabilities throughout this design, build, and operate. Recognizing the scale of that challenge, like how do we possibly take on such a big project? First and foremost, it's about partnerships for Microsoft. This is about, there are experts in these fields. There's incredible software partners, incredible integration partners, some of them huge multinational industry leading capabilities, as well as incredible niche players in smaller organizations that have very valuable capabilities. So how can we will seek to bring those together. We will look to build the connective tissue that helps you operate and execute effectively. Bring together some of the unique capabilities that Microsoft has in low-code and no-code applications to give superpowers to everybody. Thinking of the teams and collaboration capabilities that we can bring into the foundations. Our work with mixed reality and next-generation sensing and capabilities in IoT and digital twins. All of this to drive through into the partner ecosystem. And we really believe that to be able to go meaningfully deep in each of these phases requires meaningful partnerships with the biggest players and the smallest partners. And so we're thinking of a very scenario-focused approach, which allows us to identify where value propositions exist for customers, to come together and partner to execute those scenarios in the market together across our software partners, our integration partners, and the Microsoft technology that can enable it. There's no one company that can really help solve this level of challenge. And so it forces us to make sure that we're really working in open and composable ecosystems, that we are driving gravity towards data standards and consistent interop, to really make sure that we're addressing the cost for our customers and the time it takes to realize that value. If we're always living in these highly customizable, highly configurable, everything's a new snowflake scenario, we will risk the potential impact and scale. But we also need to be able to have the composability, because we do have assets that are many, many years old that'll need to continue working and continue to be optimized. So we need a strategy that allows us to drive gravity towards data standards while also embracing and operating effectively in the heterogeneous, complex environments that we see out there in the industrial space. We really want to think about how we promote the different types of data. So really create that database for the physical world, for the industrial world, where you can query the physical world as easily as you query a database. And to do that, we need to really bring together like some of the first party kind of promote to this first party citizen capabilities like 3D geometry and how we execute that, spatial data like 3D scans, photogrammetry, video streams, how we orchestrate and interact with those streams successfully, how we bring together all the different capabilities in simulation. So many different types of simulation capabilities. A lot of the digital twin work that's been going on to contextualize and normalize everything from P&IDs to strategic supply chains and networks. How we really sense as much as possible and make that data consumable, addressable on the edge and in the cloud. All of this needs a complex world where we've got to bring together and be able to effectively make it so much easier to host these capabilities, to instantiate these capabilities, compose and orchestrate them, and allow our partners and their unique value propositions to deliver more value, more effectively, more capability, and engage their customers in new ways. And of course, as we look across all of this, as we look to bring together the digital and physical worlds, we need to drive more connectivity. And if not handled correctly, it increases the risk. We're dealing with very sensitive assets. So security and digital security is at the absolute heart of what we're doing, and something we're excited about what Microsoft can bring in this space with the phenomenal investments that are going on here. How do we create it where when you connect the physical and digital worlds together, you actually make them more secure. We make them more intelligent. We allow the capabilities that are constantly analyzing threat vectors and constantly able to compensate. These are the types of capabilities that we're excited to partner with you on the journey together and really bring this to life to materialize some of these giant challenges that we're taking on and how digital can come and be a big part of those. We also recognize that even within a highly mature customer, they have often different facilities, different places of their businesses that are at different levels of maturity. So how do we come up with scenarios? And we're focused on delivering scenarios that allow us to meet customers at different levels of the maturity model. So if we say we have someone who's just really looking to get digitally enabled, they've got lots of manual paper processes going on, and they don't have a huge developer community in their own organization, and they're looking for ways to be able to embrace digital, some of the remote support capabilities, being able to deliver some IoT and connectivity capabilities into that space, leveraging low code and no code to give frontline workers superpowers and teams in the offices and office workers to come together and collaborate. Then moving customers with a journey up to the more digitally immersed, taking advantage of some of the next generation collaboration tools that we're working on, how we can bridge the divide between that physical and digital, allowing people who are remotely to immerse into the environments, thinking about how we can bring together better design and collaboration across stakeholders, and really provide that immersion into the digital space. And of course, paving the way for the digitally autonomous capabilities, where we can leverage AI to really drive massive efficiency gains across design, build, and operate. To be able to land capabilities where complex multivariant problems that are constantly being optimized by people, they can be freed up to focus on next level of bring the creativity of what we have uniquely as humans, bring that collaboration capability and the meaningful work that we're really uniquely qualified to do, leveraging some of this emerging technology to free up that capability. And so it is going to be a journey. We're super excited about where we can go, what we can do together, and how we can achieve on this journey. I think what's important is concrete next steps. So first and foremost, like for customers who are passionate about this space, who want to be able to partner with Microsoft, access some of the early work we're doing, as well as partner with us and take advantage of our established capabilities. You'll see that there's a link you can click on here with a quick survey, which takes you through some questions to make sure we're helping you around the right way. Your account team can also take you through that and help you find a journey to take advantage and come on the journey into the Industrial Metaverse. If you're a partner that has capabilities, areas where you feel you can drive real value into the Industrial Metaverse opportunity, we'd love for you to be able to leverage that and fill out that form, fill out a couple questions, or sync with your partner team to come be part of some of the exciting work we're doing here. And for me personally, this is one of the big reasons I came to Microsoft, was really to think around, this is a generational impact. This is a generational responsibility. How can we really help facilitate these digital capabilities, disrupt some of the heavy cost and time of this technology to bring it together in more meaningful ways right when our society needs it more than ever. So super excited about what we could do on this Industrial Metaverse journey and working together to make it come to life. Kees, I'll hand over to you and you can close us out.
Thank you, Andy, for these great suggestions. And as I said in the start of the session, we are in early days of the Industrial Metaverse technologies. But already now, customers like CBRE and many more are transforming their business with these technologies. This is truly an exciting space, both for Microsoft and an industry as a whole. And as you heard from Andy, at Microsoft, we are leaning in, and we're looking forward to building the Industrial Metaverse together with all of you. Thank you.